The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay. Hi everybody, welcome to the weekly Noyantis Usergroup meeting. Today is the 20th of April 2020 and myself and John are your hosts as usual. As always, if you've got any queries or questions, ideas, solutions, feel free to raise your hand. We'll get the microphones opened and we'll cover them accordingly. Now, just before we start, obviously there was no webinar last week because it was a UK public holiday, but we're back here now and yeah, back to normal, so to speak. There was recently the calendar update, which is out there and so, which is great, and I know it's been downloaded and people are enjoying it, which is good. One thing, let me find it for us. Won't be 1 second. One thing which did get reported by a few users now is a potential duplicate warning that you'll get. So the duplicate warning looks something like, just trying to find an example. Bill sent it through just today. Bill, just open up the mic. You don't mind if I just quickly show the email, do you? No. Hi, Bill. You got that right. I'll just cut the mic because I think he got some background noise there. But basically, you'll get something like a warning, like so. Let me just open it up. Yeah, you'll get a duplicate warning, and it's related to last subclass message or MSG. That came about after the calendar update, and that's because some code was moved, not really to do with the calendar actually, but some code was moved from a single product to the core Noyantis class. I think it was during the docking pane update, if truth be told. Now, of course, when we do a release, what we also do is update the core class and rebuild all of the installers. So re-downloading each one of the products would have actually corrected it. Sorry, no, that's not quite true. That particular field was being used in the report control, but it was also being used in the docking pane. And then I think it was just the docking pane, and then it got moved to the common class. So long story short, we actually released an update to docking pane last week. It was only really a very short interim rebuild, and it was the same version what was out there. The version number's been increased, but it's essentially the same version, but with this now removed because it's in the core class, which all of our products are built upon. So if you are receiving that message, just download the latest docking pane, apply it, and you will that will be corrected, and you won't get the duplicate message anymore. Okay. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? Bill was saying, just open the mic up again. Hi, Bill.
Hey, Andy. No, I had just done, I installed that updated, and I was going through and I redid all of my C10 because we're finally at the point where we're moving this C6 project over to C10, and I completely updated every single
product. Okay.
Template I had, and that's where that popped up when I went to compile.
Did you re-download the installers? Because that's a golden rule.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I re-downloaded all the installers and reinstalled them, and then this morning I downloaded the new one, and it only had to be the docking panes.
Yeah,
that's the only one that was showing that error.
Right. You see, because as I say, this would be reported almost immediately after the calendar update went out, and although it's not strictly related directly to the calendar update, it's related to the common class, which of course the calendar is built upon. But that update was released. The calendar updates, sorry, the fix to the docking pane was released probably a couple of days after the calendar, and people have applied it and said, yeah, that's fixed it, and it's now gone. So that should have fixed it. I'm not quite sure why it's not done it on yours. That's a little concerning. But yeah,
No,
you should.
it was fixed.
Oh, it
The
fixed.
one that I downloaded this morning, it was fixed.
Brilliant. Sorry, I thought you were saying it was still there. I was just concerned
No,
it had
no,
not.
no, no. But I only had to do the docking pane one.
It is, yeah, and that's because the docking pane was using that just in itself, and we've now moved it to the common class because we are using it in a couple of other places. So of course it makes sense. The whole point of the common class is it's common against the whole product set. Of course, the downside is any kind of updates like this. You do have to get update everything at the same time to make sure they're all in sync. But I mean, that's good practice anyway, so that's a good thing to do.
Well, I
That's
think
good.
John's updated program is really going to be
It's
worthwhile
definitely going to help. Yeah, definitely going to help.
especially if you get a lot of templates.
Yeah. I need to speak to John on that actually. John, are you here? Need instructions about getting my update it basically up to date, so I can push the updates for the Noyantis products out there, because we've got a couple of updates coming up. So I'll talk about those in a second. John, are you there?
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So yes, as Bill just said, update it's going to definitely help in scenarios like we've just had, because then I could just quickly make a note to everybody, say re-download, the new docking pane, and this would have fixed the particular warning. So at what point can me and you hook up and get the update it working correctly for the Noyantis stuff?
Whenever you want. We can do it after this. We can do it tomorrow. We can do it.
I can't do it after this because I've already got a meeting planned directly after this, but I'd be keen to do it tomorrow, and then that way people who've got the updated subscriptions can start making use of this. And what I will do then is, at the same time, or I'll try before we connect up, I'll see if we can have a look at the installers and getting them running silent, so you can call them from update it with the correct parameters, and get it to auto update, auto install, if you will.
Yeah, I've been kind of working on that too. So yeah, tomorrow sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. We'll me and John will work on that tomorrow, and within the next couple of days you'll start to see notifications coming through on your Noyantis products. That's good. Which does lead me on to one last thing, which was to do with updates. As I say, we've just had the calendar update, and we've had an update to the docking pane template. So this week I'm hoping to get, there was one, but it looks like it's going to have to be two updates come out this week. One is to, sorry, I'm trying to get some background noise here. One is related to the command bars. Now, as people know, we have been reworking the command bars. Really, really, really promising results from some load speeds. For example, a complex ribbon type structure, unrealistic in some respects. It really was quite complex. Was taking 3 seconds, or I think it was something like 3.5 seconds, give or take. And with the new build, that's coming in around the 0.03 of a second. So it's literally a fraction of the time, the new initialization. Plus, it will also make things easier for yourself going forward, where you'll be able to basically manipulate a queue, a number of attributes at the same time, maybe the text, maybe the alignment, or the hide, things like that. Manipulate a queue entry, change a few properties, and it will automatically recognize that change and synchronize it to the command bar automatically. So you won't even have to write your code. You'll just have to maintain the queue. So obviously the example app will be updated to reflect this type of approach as well. But I'm hoping to try and get that at least in a beta form this week. And John, I know that was one of the things you're keen on taking a good look at. So we might be touching Friday, but I'll try and get the beta to you and anybody else who is interested as well. So, Alan was just asking, did we say the docking pane was released? Alan's got a beta, a couple of people have got a beta of the what's going to be the new build of the docking pane. I'll just quickly open Mike's, Alan's mic up. Alan, the update that has been released to the docking pane was really just an interim quick update to get rid of the duplicate warning which people were receiving after the calendar update. So no, that's not been released yet. Okay. I opened the wrong Alan then actually. Sorry, there's Alan. Alan Schofield. Schoolcraft, sorry. Alan.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry about that.
I got it.
Yeah, I opened the wrong Alan. But yes, basically, it was just an interim build. What's just been released to get rid of the duplicate warning because nobody wants those types of things when you don't.
Okay, no problem.
There has been some more work. I'll get an updated beta to you of the docking pane class because you're kindly, as I say, doing some testing on that, and it just sorts out a few repaint / resize fixes, and also I don't know if you noticed, depending on how you're using it, you can get some things which open. Let me just quickly show you on our schedule. The database is on. I don't know whether you have docking panes on a windowed procedure being hosted in docking panes. We do. So there's our docking pane, and if I go to a window, which again hosts docking panes, you'll see the pane on the right opens and closes. And of course, it shouldn't be doing that. I understand why and so on. So there'll be little fixes like that where it won't necessarily have to open and close. It's doing that code to get some things to be activated, and it doesn't need to all of the time. So there'll be some fixes like that.
You probably want to get the latest beta to us. We're still having some difficulties. It just depends on which machine it's running on as far as crashing on startup. So
okay.
yeah, like Dries can't run it at all on his machine. So if you want us to try your latest, we'll happy to do that.
Oh, definitely. Yes. Yeah. Now that's okay. The machine shouldn't make any difference.
It looks like a timing issue. Yeah.
See, this particular app, obviously, we use this. We demonstrate. It's in development, but we've shown this for a number of weeks now. Now this is being used 3 different machines in house, and then numerous machines because it's in a test, a customer site, in 2 customers actually. Technically 3, although that one's more of a partner. But so it's on a number of different machines, and we've not seen any of the, because you could get the GPS, as you say, depending on the initialization. We've not seen any of them now for literally months. Since the switch to this. So I'll be intrigued.
Well, remember, it's Dries working on this stuff, so we're liable to have some funky stuff you didn't even think about.
Well, that's good. Well, it's not good that you're getting them, but it's good that you are throwing it a curveball, so to speak.
Yeah.
And we'll just have to track what it is. I mean, I'll probably connect up with Dries there to have a bit more of a chat with him. What I'll do there before the beta comes out, I might just arrange a quick online meeting for yourself, Dries, and me to quickly connect up. If he can demonstrate what he's got on his particular screens and so on and so forth, then we can have a chat and we'll take it from there. That's okay.
I'm sure he'd be happy to.
Yeah, no, I'm more than happy to as well, because obviously it's in my interest, it's in everyone's interest, of course. So yeah. So excuse me. So that is the docking pane. Now, as I say, there will be the command bar update this week. Definitely the beta. It's in pretty good shape, to be fair. But there also needs to be, I'm just going to mute that for noise. There also is going to be an update to the report control Now I've been doing some changes to the report control, only small little bits, a few enhancements, speed enhancements and so on. But Alex, I'll just open up Alex's phone mic. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, hi Alex. Now Alex is you working an application, and it's legacy based. Sorry, just 1 second. I've got a speaker going in the background. Sorry, 1 sec. Sorry about that. It seems the Bluetooth speakers just kicked into life. Yeah, Alex is working on a legacy application with the report control. Now he's on the latest version. Correct me if I'm wrong at any of this, Alex. And we were just actually, prior to this meeting, we were just connected up ourselves, investigating a particular issue. Now, this is I know the application's called Legacy, but it turns out it wasn't actually Legacy. We created an example, a standard report control, which obviously we're clicking around as you would expect, and a report control hosted in docking panes, which of course you've just seen in our application and so on, which is done. And all looks good. We then did the same for a legacy application, a legacy browse. And it seems that, I don't know if it's through a recent change, but it does seem there's an issue where we can't actually click on a row. So I'm trying to click on 24 Hours of Le Mans, so record 8, and of course I can. Yeah, the scroll mouse is working, so that's good news. But the actual mouse click isn't, and we're not sure why or how that has come about. So that will be fixed this week, and there will be a new report control coming out this week. So if anyone's using report control in Legacy, and I do believe, I think John was using report control in Legacy quite a lot throughout his application. So why this is how it's come about, it's got to be in a recent build, because I know historically it's been fine. So apologies for that. We'll find the issue and we'll get it fixed accordingly. So that will be fixed as soon as possible. Alex, anything to say on that?
No, that's all. Thank you so much. And again, this only happens on the browse enhancer, not the regular browse control, yes. Not that's even right. The list enhancer, just the browse enhancer for Legacy.
That's right, because that we've got to mention that. But Alex has got a system which looks amazing. To be fair, really nice. Finished a couple of ideas myself off that, Alex. To be fair, yeah.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. It's credit where it's due. But yes, basically, you've got various ways of getting the data, which we've covered numerous times, into the report control. One is to manually load the data. One is to have a file/view loaded, which is the thing we just saw a minute ago. That's fine. One is to put the data into a Clarion queue, have a Clarion list control on the screen and enhance it, and that is fine, including Legacy, as Alex has just said, because he has a particular scenario in his application which has that, and that works fine, so that's great. And then the last is a browse enhancer, where it can be take a Clarion browse, page loaded or file loaded. Of course, if it's Legacy, it's has to be page loaded because it doesn't support file loaded. And it can take that data and enhance it. Now, this is a Clarion Legacy browse. There's the report control, as you can see. And then what you've got is the actual true Clarion browse here on the right, and so on. We need it to work like that through some implementation restrictions. So that's technically what's going on. As I say, why these have stopped taking the mouse clicks, we're unsure of. So that's going to be looked at as a matter of urgency. So you can expect that to be fixed this week and a new report control to come out. So, and the other thing I was actually working on the report control is the drag and drop. So you might, depending on the complexity, you might see that in this build as well. So, okay.
Thank you, Andy.
No problem. Thank you. Thanks for your patience. So, I'm not sure how that's come about. These things do happen. Obviously, with some of the recent changes upset it. Just got to find it and fix it accordingly. But we will, So I'll be looking at that as early as tomorrow. So you might get an answer on it tomorrow. Failing that, it'll be the day or so afterwards. But you will get an answer on it this week.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andy. I appreciate it.
No problem. Now the other, actually, Alex, while you're there, and for anybody else using the report control in a legacy type, no, sorry, not legacy, a report control that is page loaded. Okay, so legacy has to be page loaded, ABC optionally page loaded. But anyone else who's using it in that type of scenario, I'll switch to the ABC version because one, it works. I know the app's called Legacy. It's not, so ignore that. But one thing just to note is if we do this here now this is the report control. It's page loaded. We're using it on docking panes as well there, and so on. Now, what it's worth pointing out is when it's page loaded. Sorry, not that one. That's a page loaded. Okay, so that's page loaded. Report control being enhanced. Now, what is worth pointing out is in that scenario, what Clarion does is you've got a list and it calculates through the font being used and any icons and so on and so forth and any different attribute that can affect how many rows can be displayed, and it calculates basically a thing called prop items. So in this, depending on the font, we could get maybe 8, possibly 10 rows. Now the Clarion browse, being page loaded, what that will do is it will probably load something like 30 records, page behind, page ahead, and the rows that you are looking at. And that just helps it keep a bit of a speed flow, if you will. So as I'm arrowing down here, it will basically make it nice and easy. So it's constantly looking at having the additional records in memory and so on. Now, one thing to note on that is it takes this height into account. So that might load, I would say 8, maybe 10. That could probably load double that and so on. So one of the tricks you will want to do, I think we covered it in some recent webinars, but one of the tricks you'll want to do is for the Clarion list, if you've got a screen that's going to take resize it or take charge of it, like docking panes and so on and so forth, you're going to want to make sure that the height of this is then basically the change of the height is taken into account, because the change of the height will cause the report control contents to be reloaded, which of course it would have to. If we changed it at runtime from something like 10 records to 20 records, it needs to go and reload so it's got the correct amount of data in memory and so on. So that's one of the things we were going through with Alex. When maybe in the docking pane, so on and so forth, what you want to do is, if you do have any issues where you're not getting enough data loaded, then what you want to do is basically synchronize some code so that this height is taken into account. Now, Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, the code I think we do is something like sync list underscore sync. Help me out here. Is it sync height, sync content?
Yeah, it's actually hold on, I'll tell you. I have it right here. The one that you said works is report control method list underscore sync position.
Sync position, right. And what that does is it will take the Clarion browse. It technically won't. It'll take something else. I'll explain that in a second. But essentially, it is the Clarion browser's position, so the X and the Y, and the width and the height. Height being the major thing that it needs to know about, because that's going to control the prop items. So if that height changes, it needs to know right, it's changed, we need to now go and trigger a reload because the background contents will have changed. So, i.e., the Clarion browse has gone from, let's say, page ahead, current page, and page ahead. Sorry, page behind, current page, page ahead. 10 records in each, 30 records. If you've then just changed that, so you can technically display 20 rows, 20 records, of course, the Clarion browse will have done that. The report control needs to know that the contents have changed, and it will go off and reload the report control accordingly from the content of the Clarion browse. Now, when it's running, in the example I showed a second ago, the actual Clarion page loaded browse is actually still on screen, and you just see it as the actual scroll bar and so on. So what the actual template does, and it's worth noting this, is it creates its own resize box, and you can override it and have your own, and we've demonstrated that a couple of weeks ago as well. But let's just take a quick look in here. Let's have a look in our source and have a look at a create command. I'd imagine it's in there somewhere. No, not the parent group. Do you know what? It's actually done in the class. But what it does is it will go off and create, going back into that window design, it goes off and creates, I think it's a simple box control, and it marries it to the size of your browse before the browse gets resized down to just the vertical bar. So it knows that what the browse would have been, i.e. its height, its width, its position, so on and so forth. So when you do your list underscore sync position, it's synchronizing the report control to that basically that box what's been created. By creating the box, what it allows it to do then is, if you're using third-party resizers, or Clarion resize for that matter, so if you're using Resize and Split, Capesoft, or the old Easy Resize and Split, or if you're using Mike's resizer, or the Clarion one, that will then potentially take charge of the Clarion browse, of course, which we then take charge of, but it will take charge of this box that's been created, and that will have been resized just like the Clarion browse would have been. So if you've gone taller in the window, it would go taller for the Clarion for the box and so on. The Clarion browse is reloaded, and then our synchronize resyncs the list control, the report control, to the position and the size of the box. Does that make sense? I'll take that as a yes. Oh, Alex, the microphone's still open if you want to speak. But Alex has just said, is it just me that did the sound go away? Hi, just checking. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, I got you. We got you.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have any sound go away.
Okay, Alex, I think it's just yourself. Where the sound's gone. But basically, yeah, I probably just lost a few people there. But essentially what you need to know is, if you're going to use a page-loaded browse enhancer, then have either through your own code or third-party templates, have the list resize. Our template will, as I say, create a dummy box to emulate the size of the Clarion list and so on and so forth. But ultimately, that list needs to be resized and so on. So of course, if you're using a third-party resizer, it will do that automatically for you. If you're not, then you do need to trap an event. The best event you're going to want to trap is basically something like do resize. Window event, game focus, lose. No? What's it come under? Oh, I've got no resize on here, that's why. After just saying that to you. So if we just put a Clarion resizer on there, very simple. And you're going to want to, now we should have a do resize. Okay. Okay. Well, basically, what you want to do is take in the window take event. You'd want to check for the event, do resize, and that's where you would put your code. As I say, if you're using third parties, they already do all this code for you automatically. But if you're doing it manually, which in Alice's case he was, then which is perfectly fine, by the way, of course, then that's what you want to do. You would want to trap for the event, do resize, and basically do call the list underscore, just find a field picker. Attach that. Let's find that one. Report control, and the method you would want to call manually. If it's a list enhancer, they're all going to be prefixed with list, and you would want to be, it's not there, but it's list underscore sync position. List underscore sync position. That's what you'd want to be calling manually. So, okay, quite an update to start with there. Any other questions? Okay, Alejandro. Let's. Oh yeah. No. Alejandro, you there?
Hello, Andy.
Hi.
Hello, John.
Okay, so you have to fix.
Give me good news.
the code. Okay. I will dig it you out after this webinar, and I will send you the code. Yeah, I'll dig the code out. It's probably, I think I've got an example, but it's tough because I'm on one of my machines, but all the other stuff is out the server, so I'll have to at the office on the main server, so I'll have to dig it out for you. But what Alejandro's after is when you're using certain controls, calendar being one, and syntax editor being the other. And when you're using them in the docking panes, what you can end up with, let me go into here, because this example. So this has got a report control. There you go, just a standard report control. It's actually got some other child browsers, other windows running at the bottom. And we've got field picker on the right, of course. Now, when you resize, what you can get, I don't know if you saw that there, if you watch around here, you'll see a very small square.
Yes.
Yep, you see that?
Yes.
And that's to do with the resize.
Yes.
Now, what's happening with the calendar, and it's the two controls, calendar and syntax edit, they get resized down to the small square. The trouble is they don't bounce back from it. That is a problem, and they should do. I'll either get the code. It's an ugly hack, but it works. So the good news is for you, it works, and the user doesn't get to see anything different, so that's fine. But technically, you just try a test on yours for me. After you've done the resize, if you click on, what happens is you click on the calendar, it goes to the small size. If you then resize, does it come back? It should do, of course. Can you just try that for me?
Yes. Let me try right now.
Okay.
And I have.
Basically, all I can think is that.
1 second, please.
Set his payment up. I know that his payment definitely went through, but I'd set his extra to pound up separately and a little later.
No, after resize, do you want share my screen? I can show you.
Yeah, please. Let's just go to that. So I'm just going to make you presenter.
Okay.
We should get an option any second now.
This Friday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So if you just want to restart your application.
I'm just thinking whether I did it in. Yeah.
Sorry?
If you just restart it so we can see it where it goes small.
All I can think is that it wasn't done
Okay.
by the cut-off point for the payment. Obviously, I can't tell. I don't know that for definite until I speak to the until they say, "Oh yeah, it didn't make it on the run." But I'm tracing it up. But yeah, say that if it
Sorry.
Okay.
the only reason why,
So
and it will get.
you've lost that size. Now, if you can just
Mhm.
This Friday, so he'll get his personalised.
is that hosted in a docking pane?
For last week as well. So I will
Sorry.
do,
What did you say?
So in this
If I-
window,
response as well.
yeah, if
Yes.
you could just resize that,
Yes, there is.
yeah, and it comes back,
Some money's involved, isn't it?
correct?
No worries.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
back again.
Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of what
Another
I
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me show you another thing that I can found is if you. Oh, sorry.
Bye.
Sorry.
Okay.
If you open it, and if I make if I lost the focus, I will make click and in another window in my
Okay.
PC, and I back. Okay.
Yeah.
It's work. So it's the both things. If you resize the window, the docking, sorry, or if you lost the focus and gain the focus again.
Okay. Didn't realise about the focus. That's good to know. But we knew about the resize, and it's only really to do with this scenario where you've got it hosted in a docking pane. So yeah, what can you just open it again for me, please, so we can see it small?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now, when did it go small? Just by itself, or did you click on it? Just was that automatic when it just went small?
Sorry, Andy.
So obviously it's gone small now, down to the small little size. Now,
Yes.
was it automatic? Did you click anywhere first, or did it just go do it automatically itself?
Wait. Can you open the Roberto? Yes, I made click. I made click here. Roberto is helping me.
Roberto, hang on, where are we, Roberto? There you go. Hi, Roberto.
Wait, please.
Hello.
Resident
Language.
translator.
Idiomisms. Sí, si a la hora de que lo cargaste, que si le hiciste clic en algún lado, lo maximizaste,
Yes.
simplemente lo hizo así solito.
No. When I will open it again, and I will make click inside the Calendar Pro. Okay. If I make click.
So when you click on the calendar,
that's perfect.
it makes it small.
That's exactly what I expected. Yep. So you open it. It looks visually okay, but the very first click will cause it to go small, and it's to do with.
We don't see that because it's so slow that we didn't catch that.
Well, I wanted to know
okay.
if he was clicking. I suspected he was. But yes, basically that is the expected behaviour. But the good news is that's good. And there is a workaround for it, which we've implemented in our own systems here. I think I implemented it in John's system and a couple of other systems. So, but what I want to do is for the template to actually implement it itself. But I'll either dig the code out, Alejandro. I'll either find the code and send it to you, or I'll get the even if it's just a small little template update to the existing docking pane, I'll get that so it recognises it and does the fix for you automatically.
Okay.
So yes,
if you send me the code, it will be better.
Yeah.
For me.
I think there's two places you need to put the code, and it's related to doing mouse clicks. So but that's fine.
Okay. Perfect. Yep. Thank you very much. Really, I will appreciate it.
Okay, no problem. Yes. Okay.
Thanks. Bye.
Anybody have any more questions? No? It's all very quiet. All good. Go back to my screen. Donald. I'm gonna pick on Donald. See if he's available. Donald, just open your microphone up.
Hey, how are you doing?
How are you doing? Yes, I'm fine. Thank you. Yourself?
I'm doing pretty well. Just playing around with some Windows APIs.
Oh, exciting stuff. I picked on you because you're a relatively new user to it. So, have you got any questions? Yeah, fine if you haven't. I just thought I'd put you on the spot. Everyone puts me on the spot.
Well, I probably do have a few. I'm working on a project, and it's making heavy use of report controls and docking panes in particular.
Okay.
And I've got one docking pane that the control inside the docking pane is a clearing window, and it's kind of got some sporadic behavior where when the docking pane initializes, the window doesn't appear, and then when I click on the docking pane, the window appears, but it appears outside of the pane. I don't know if that's making sense.
Yeah, you shouldn't go outside the pane. Now, I think you're on the beta, like Alan. I think you're on the beta of the docking pane.
I am.
From memory. So, just let me get this right. You've got a docking pane. You start.
I could demonstrate it for you real quick if you want.
Oh, you sure? I didn't know whether it was a private application or if the app is show it, that'd be fine.
Well, we can say that this will be our Noyantis secret, because this is a project I've been working on for a little while.
The only trouble is you're currently going out to a few people, and it's got to be recorded. So you know, it can be a secret.
It's not that big a deal.
So I'm happy to present you if you're happy. That okay?
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. Cool. Here we go. So you should get a prompt on the screen.
Okay, you should be seeing my screen.
Okay.
And this is the behavior. And this interface is pretty ugly, so please forgive that. Can you see my screen, by the way?
Yeah, so we've got the controls. Yep.
Yeah, okay, this is the docking pane that has a window in it, and there should be a button there.
Right, okay.
Now if I click that pane, now this window appears, and sometimes it'll work as expected, and most of the time it don't. And I'm sure I've got something wrong.
Okay, can we reload that? Sorry, restart it. Just let me try a test. I think this is because you're on the beta. There are definitely some repaint issues, resize and repaint issues, and I think it might literally be just one of those. I think the fact that when you floated it, then so it's not done it. So if you just resize that pane to the right. Yep. No, you've not got it. That's interesting. Okay. But tell you what, if you unpin it, oh yeah, and then it's got it.
I read your mind. Now, before we blame the docking panes, it could be a setting or something that I have wrong.
Let's just take a quick look at that. Yeah.
Let's see, which one is it? Oh, I had a brain. Let's see. Controls.
Controls, yep.
Okay, options. And I just kind of
all fine. Yeah, to the left.
Yeah.
Content. Clarion, yeah. Controls. Looks
And that's part of the ultimate. My brain is not working. Ultimate notify.
Yep.
It's just a parameter for that, and
Okay.
and then we'll look at the window, and there's the content management.
Yep.
And I just let that default.
Yep.
Which this leads me to a question that I had is what is this parent pane ID and parent?
I was just going to say,
number,
if you're passing in now, imagine if you will, one of the systems I worked in was you had a list of patients. Okay, so it was a practice management system. You had a list of patients, and then you could click an option, and it would open up a pane, basically another procedure via a docking pane, hosted in a docking pane, and in that procedure would be a list of the appointments for a patient. All sounds pretty straightforward, like you've got here.
Mm-hmm.
What you could also do is in that same system, you had the list of patients. You also had a list of staff members. Now, you could press a button in the staff members, which would open up a pane, which would call that same procedure list appointments, but that would be filtered for the staff member rather than for the patient. So there's two ways of looking at the same data. One being controlled, looking at it from the staff point of view, what appointments do you have today, and one from the patient's point of view, what appointments do you have for this patient, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So now both panes were defined. So you had two panes defined, patient appointments and staff appointments. So the way it works is they were both calling this same procedure. And let's call, hypothetically, the procedure called list appointments. So both two panes, you've got a patient appointments, staff appointments, both calling a same procedure, list appointments. So what would happen would be, depending on what the user had gone to, they might not be opened in the right place. For example, you might define the staff appointments last, because it would also depend on which order the user selected particular options to see which panes were actually defined in which order. They were on different windows, you see. So depending on which one was defined last and which one was defined first, that might get it. So the user might open up in the correct order. So you click on list patients, you click on their appointments, and it opens up in the right place. But if the staff one had been opened first, then the user had gone to the patient and then clicked the patient button, it would actually go and dock in the staff list, in the staff basically area. So it was wrong, and it was all to do with the order that things were being defined, and so on. So to combat that, what you can do is say, okay, my parent thread is such and such a thread number, and I want you to. But the way it works is, it comes along and it says, I'm called list appointments. Who's waiting for me? And it would find the first pane, which didn't have any content, so it could be, patient appointments. Have you got an appointment? Have you got any a handle for the content? No. Brilliant. You must be waiting for me then, and it would open up in that area. But of course, depending on the how the user had done particular things during the running of the system, the first pane might have been staff appointments, which have been defined, and that would be found first. So what you can do is you can use these parent pane ID and the parent thread number. Use them together or use them individual. It's up to yourself. And what that will do is, list appointments opens and it says, okay, who's waiting for me? But it will also then take a parent ID into account, or a parent thread number into account. So it will say, who's waiting for me? What is called patient appointments. So the staff one would be there, but of course the parent ID, the pane ID doesn't match, or the thread number, the calling thread number doesn't match. It would ignore that and carry on looking for another window waiting for it, where the parameters do match. So if you're going to use so on the upshot of that, basically, again, long story short, if you're going to use a piece of content like list appointments, which can be called from numerous different places, and you might want to do different things, different parameters, but that's kind of irrelevant. If you're going to use one particular procedure, which could be opened several times for several different pane contents, then you really want to be using this filter system to either pass it in the parameter of a pane, so you've got maybe patient appointments and staff appointments. So pass in some kind of parameter to say your parent pane needs to be called this, or pass it in a parent thread number. So if you work on that, so that is a filter system to make sure that this one generic procedure does get opened by the correct parent.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And I saw you had the thread number there. So, if you're already using it for the ultimate notify, so on and so forth, that's probably a pretty good parameter to use there. I would use the parent thread number. You've got it passed in as a parameter, so I would have that specified in there.
Okay. Yes, that's the name of the parameter there.
Yeah, so perfect. So that's what those are for. And the pane ID is the same as the thread number, except you're just using the pane ID instead of a thread number.
Now the window itself, the properties of the window, how much do they affect what the docking pane is trying to do?
Well, if the docking pane doesn't like something, like you've got system menu on there, then of course there are the settings on the extension, but it will turn these things off. So it will turn off the system menu, it will turn off, I think there's 2 or 3, turn off the title, it will turn off the icon, things like that, depending on what you want. Okay. So, but if it spots something it doesn't like, and you've via the template extension, give it the authority to do so, then it will actually go off and turn off incorrect settings.
Oh, cool. Okay, because I've played around with, removing things and.
Yeah, no. If you go back to the extension, and there's some on there, and you've got hide until attached, hide the title bar, including the icon, and basically the resize as well. It will turn off the prop resize, because things like that. Basically, if you want to give it the, which I do in our applications, if you want to give it the look and feel where you don't really want the window title bar to appear, then the caption obviously has an effect on that, as you can imagine, but so does the icon for the window, and so does the resize, because that can turn the title bar back on again to give it the resize button. So if you've got those things ticked, then what it will do is it will go off and basically turn those off, so to ensure that you don't get the title bar, which is the look and feel that you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, kind of. If you have the title bar and all of that, it kind of defeats the purpose of having it.
It can actually cause you some issues as well, because then they can start moving the window around inside of the pane it's hosted in, which is a little strange. Not sure why you're getting that.
This was working. This was working fine, and I don't know.
Can we put something else on that window, on the controls window? Just, I don't know. Maybe put I take it using save and restore in this.
Yes. I just basically duplicated the example app.
Okay.
But I wondered if maybe try a different window.
I just get another control on there. Put put a couple of buttons on, not a couple of strings, something like that. Yeah, and a prompt, something. It doesn't really matter what, just so. Do you have any extensions on there?
Just the DOS file lookup. I've got the easy XML object.
The win event. Can you just go to the win event?
Okay.
That one. Settings. I vaguely remember there's one of these which can upset it a little. Make this window visible on desktop. Just turn that off.
Yeah, it looks suspicious, doesn't it?
Okay, just try that for me, please.
No. Let's just try disabling it altogether.
There is one particular setting. It doesn't normally cause that particular effect. I've just seen it turn on the title bar back again, but that's the kind of effect. If you just
Yeah.
so we've definitely got our. So it's got it there. This is crazy.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, but I have Ultimate notified. I don't know. Yeah,
You know the pin.
I didn't expect. Do what?
If you just run that again for me. Oh, you might turn your. Now that pane itself, you've got the pin, you've got the close and the pin icon. If you just click that pin. Okay, and then fold it back out. Oh. I've never seen this behavior.
Yeah,
what's that controls? Hang on a second.
This?
Suddenly, that's that caption. Aren't they the actual controls tab? Controls pane?
Let's see.
Controls, yeah, so it comes up controls.
Yeah.
Fine, no problem. Yep, no problem. So on and so forth. Content, controls window. So it's like it's not actually docking it.
I have some other windows here that I've. This is a work in progress. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Don't worry about that.
Just throw something else in there to see if it docks. Because if another window works, then that tells me that there's something up with that window. Oh, I know what it is. No?
Which one?
Okay, I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Let's just make sure. Do you want the just on the extension? Not so much that.
I was setting it back the way it was so I wouldn't forget. Okay. On the docking panes extension?
Just run that again for me. The this one. You can turn your ultimate notify back on again because I don't think. Oh, sorry, no, not on this one. Not on the controls window.
On this one?
Yeah. Yeah, you should be fine on that. So, yeah, interesting on there.
Mm-hmm.
Just recompile that for me and just try that again. Where's the controls now?
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Okay. The save and restore file.
I haven't seen.
Just delete the save and restore file. Make sure we've not screwed anything up in that.
Yeah, I think that's probably what happened.
Okay. Now controls is there. The content is started, but it's not actually captured it via its handle. Now,
And it
now
usually
you just
doesn't appear like that.
well, yeah. Well, don't click that. Just float the controls pane.
Yeah, it's not letting me do it. Did I have it set as an MDI? I don't remember.
Okay.
I wonder if that needs to be
Yep.
on.
Yeah, click the MDI.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Now,
That's weird.
yeah, it's still floating. It's not docking it, which means it's not getting its handle. Now, if you go back to the controls and just float, not that one, leave that running, but yeah, that, and float it,
Okay.
and back again. And get hold of it. Yeah. Now that the other procedure is running, but it's behind what we can see here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting.
Why is it not seeing that? I notice you've got the client area. Is that by design?
Yeah, I've played around with it. It's more just
If you go to your
the way it looks.
yeah, you want to hide the client area. Yeah, that'd be better. To be fair.
I wonder. Private.
Yeah, that's fine. That's yeah, that's fine. Nope, all fine.
You don't think that
I'll tell you what we can do.
the skin framework thing would have anything to do with it? I wouldn't think so.
Not one particular thing. It shouldn't do now. If we can just go back to that controls window and just remove that thread filter which we had.
Okay.
Because we'll just change that. You see, so I'm just trying to get back to where we were. Okay, let's just try that. Okay, and float it. Yep. No, that's. You're clicking it. It's activating it. When you're activating it, it's starting the child content. It's down to the handle not being assigned. Yeah, it's starting it correctly, which is what we've just seen appear. It's got to be settings of that window.
To make sure that I don't have any spurious code floating around that would affect it. No, I don't see anything because I thought maybe if I had maybe a start floating around somewhere, it might.
Yep. Let's go back to our controls window. Actually, it's very, very crude this. Let's just create a brand new window, if we can, please.
Yeah.
Yep, that'll do. Okay. Window, generic window handler. MDI window.
Hello, how are you? I'm good, thank you.
That's fine. Yep, no problem. Let's just put a string or something on there to tell us what it is.
Check with you. I'm just increasing
Fine. Okie dokie.
personal allowance to that last
And save that.
Okay.
And let's just go into the extensions. Yeah. Let's put the content manager on there.
So should I do the extra £20?
And then, yeah, you've got it. Right, let's just leave that as is.
Okay.
Okay.
You want to drop it in that pane.
Yeah, let's create a new pane right at the end. Let's just call it new window.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
It's going to leave everything default.
Well, that's fine. Yep.
Don't want to keep giving them money. Yeah.
Yep. Let's try that. I'm just going to compile that.
No, I can't imagine there would be. According to Robin, is doing KPA. His universal credit payment is due to start on the 19th of May.
There it is.
So he's.
Yeah. That's fine with that. What is it with yours?
Personal allowance to the 15th.
I know it sounds absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
But it's almost as well. Okay, now you've got a DOS lookup button on there. If you're not, let's add that same a DOS lookup button to our new window. Let's just make sure that that's not causing an issue, if you will.
All right.
Approved by payments tomorrow, and they can get it by Friday.
Yep.
So I'll get all that sorted now. Thank you for that, Rachel.
Might need to do some settings on that.
Yeah. I don't think it has to have a header. DOS file name variable. And by the way, this project, when it's complete, I am going to give it to the Clarion community.
That's very, very, very nice.
I don't know if anybody caught the title of it on the main window.
I did catch the title of that.
I wondered, but I was keeping quiet.
I was like, yeah.
I've been slowly converting an app we use at the police department to SQL, and going through table by table and changing things is a pain in the butt. Hey, look.
Yeah,
I've
just seen. Now that's crazy. Let's just remove that the DOS, that window.
Well, eliminate the impossible. Whatever's left, however unlikely, must be the truth. See if anybody gets that quote. I don't see the string control anymore. Something with that DOS file lookup is totally screwing that window up when it comes to the docking pane. That is weird. Huh.
I'm gonna have to try that same test here. I believe you. I've just seen it, but just so I can actually then diagnose what's going on. But
I would have never imagined that, and it's not. That's just an out of the box DOS file lookup. It's not a third party. Interesting. Well,
that's
you got to see it.
A quick note here. Where are we? 20th, aren't we? 20th of the 4th. A docking pane issue. I'm just making a note here.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty cool when I get it done, because I need it personally. And I'm like, so many people have helped me over the years. I'm like, I'm just going to give this to everybody. And basically it'll be for FM3, adding your various FM3 options, and then multi-proj and distributed database, converting to SQL, just some different things, tools that I've needed personally. I think other people could use it. So
cool. Well, I'm sure I know I'll lend a hand if I can be of any help on anything. Just ask and so on. And I'm sure others will offer as well. So just consider it done. Just if you Andy, have you ever done such and such thing? If I have, I'll gladly lend a hand and help.
Yeah, here recently I've been messing around with Windows APIs because I have a mapping application that accesses GPS devices and stuff, and I wanted to improve my discovery of those devices. And oh man, this has been the API stuff has been a rabbit hole from hell.
We the templates make use of various different APIs. Actually, you ever take a look at the NYS Common class, you'll see all the API definitions at the top, which there might be some in there which you need to make use of, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
NYS just NYS Common.clw.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Scroll up to the top. And I'm sure there's some APIs up the top there. Yeah, so yes, you can see there.
Yeah.
We prefix it so you don't get no duplicates and so on and so forth. But yes, basically we each one, that's the common, so all of the products can make use of those. And then after that, individual products might have their own APIs as well. And so on.
Yeah.
But like there's one there we use a lot of is the set parent, where we need to hide controls, but we need Clarion to still think that they are perfectly valid, so that you can go ahead and change the prop hide and change the prop required and read only, just as you would normally do, and like the likes of command bars can then emulate and clone those particular settings. So we let you do that, but we don't want the controls to be visibly on show. So what the common class does is it creates a group structure which is hidden, and then we change the parentage via an API call. So we say, okay, change the parentage of that control to our group, which is hidden. So it means that we hide the control, but without changing the prop hide of Clarion. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does actually.
So
I just noticed this thread attribute on these groups. I didn't know you could do that. Interesting. Yeah. I've been putting together my own little collection of equates, and I ended up having to write some code to get the error string back so I would know what error I was making. And man, this has just been a pain in the butt. And
it's one link to the next, to the next, to the next. You are right, it is a rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's just it's kind of like a Lay's potato chip. That's a brand we have in the United States. Their slogan was, you can't just eat just one.
Well, another one which might help you is if you open a file called nysequates.equ, and again, we might just have something.
What the hell?
YS.
Keep hitting.
Oh, yeah. Equates.
Is it underscore?
No underscore, no. That's all.
Oh yeah, I've looked at this one before.
Skip past that, but you will see various different equates, R equates, CodeJock equates, but also some API equates, like the date time structures, and might be some error stuff, so on and so forth.
Yeah, and stuff that I've had to figure out, is these various groups where you have to basically drop values on top of these groups. And
that's right, yeah. Prime them up in the as they want them, yeah. And also, a lot of them you'll have they'll pass a group pointer, so as a parameter, so you'll get that quite a lot. But again, the common class will have examples of that. I mean, it sounds like you're already doing it, to be fair, but the common class has got examples in there, like invalidate rect. If you have a look in the common class for invalidate rect, and that'll be an example of where it will prime up a group and then pass it as a pointer.
Yeah, and of course, I went all through this. Didn't I click that? Maybe I didn't. Well, I thought I did. I just had this open. I don't know what the problem is, but I went all through that shipped win API thing, and it has none of the APIs I needed.
Well, the offer's there. Should you, I'm sure the climbing community will be helpful as they always are anyway. But the offer's there. You ever get stuck? Oh, I remember.
Yeah, I don't know if
a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's got the stuff that Clarion uses and things that most people would use in a normal business database oriented application, but enumerating devices is not one of them.
I'm not sure it's in there. It might be in the common. Might be. There's one where we needed to enumerate. There's enumerating the printers, but there's enumerating the screens because we needed to know how many screens were attached at any one time and their coordinates, so that obviously you can draw straight to a particular screen and move a window across to a particular monitor, that kind of thing. So we make use of that for one of our applications because from time to time screens can be unplugged and replugged in and so on and so forth. So there is examples of them for that. Interesting. One project I need to do, which might help, is to do with the COM ports and the USB devices, and I need to re-enumerate those to find out. It's really to do with particular printers where they've been and big display boards for on-course bookmakers, horse racing. But yeah, they'll unplug the devices and then plug them in the ports. But then they phone you up saying my display isn't working. And it's because you moved it from COM3 to COM4 and so on. So I want to have an auto detect, so I can just scan the ports, find out what port it's now plugged into, and change the settings accordingly.
Yeah. This is actually an example app that I found on Code Project now, but this is a C++ app that I compiled in Visual Studio. And I'm trying to kind of duplicate some of this stuff.
Oh, well, I'll be doing that. Not quite now, though. I'm probably a few weeks off having to start that. But once I've got that code, I'll pass it across to you. It'll go in the common class anyway, to be fair. But that is exactly what it needs to do. So we can just enumerate the USB and COM ports, find out what's plugged into that, because I need to. It's a Pacific. So I forget the name of it now, such and such a device, and that is what we use as the device for our display boards. So basically, I want to enumerate the COM ports and the USB ports, look at what's physically plugged into that, if anything, and that will tell me, okay, well, I know now it used to be on COM4, now it's on COM3, and we just talk to COM3 accordingly instead, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
right now, and I'll be happy to send you anything that I have. Right now, I'm able to get about 99% of this information as it stands.
Oh, very good.
I'm currently getting a error insufficient buffer on just a handful of fields. Hardware ID, I'm getting an insufficient buffer, and a couple of others. But
Donald?
Yes, sir.
Alejandro has an OCX that is created to get all the data into Clarion. He said if you talk to him, he'd be willing to give it to you.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's an OCX created with a C#, and then he created all kinds of classes to communicate with it.
Yeah, and C#, man, it has some seriously powerful stuff that you can do with C#. You were talking about watching for a port being disconnected, reconnected.
Yeah.
The UWP, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but the UWP stuff actually has a watcher function that will actually sit and watch for a disconnect or a reconnect. And matter of fact, I think I have an example already compiled. And I'm not trying to take over the
No, you're fine.
I think this is it here. So I thought I had built it already. Let's see if this runs. I can't remember if it does or not. That's a not on that one. That's the thing about the Visual Studio stuff is a lot of the stuff just doesn't work. It's very hard to get it to work, at least for me sometimes.
Well, we got it already done, so if you want to, it's probably easier to just work on it and figure out what else it needs, and you can probably share.
Tell him mucho gracias a million times over.
Okay.
Instead of having to recreate the thing, you might as well just work together, and make the other one better. Yeah.
What if I don't know if anyone will make use of it, but we did some apps for Windows for Windows pads, which was fine. But of course, we needed to ensure that the pad had connectivity, Wi-Fi connectivity, so that it can continue to push the data back to the server and drag the data down and so on and so forth. So we worked out the code for the APIs for live monitoring of the Wi-Fi status and so on, and the signal strength, so you can actually see, what percentage it's running at as you're moving around and so on. So anyone needs any code like that, it might come in handy.
Yeah, that was another issue that I've had to deal with is internet connectivity, and man, people have asked me before, when are you going to be done with that project? I'm like, there is no such a thing as done. It never ends.
No, that's a good thing. Keeps us all in business.
Well, it's definitely my retirement plan. It's definitely in my retirement plan. So
cool. Well, we all like a challenge. Okay, I'm going to have to wrap this up now, only because we're fast approaching 5:30, and I do need to connect to another particular person at 5:30. So I don't think there's any other questions. Alex dial back in. Bill's looking for previous webinars. Bill, I'll check our recordings because these go up to Clarion Live. In fact, let's open up Bill's microphone. 1 second, here we go. Bill. The mic's open.
Yeah. If you go to the clarionlive.com and you click on Noyantis, you can't find anything. The dates are all skewed, and it makes no sense. I knew somewhere you had the
well, there is
all of the webinars stored on YouTube or something.
Yeah,
I just don't need.
I was going to say what you've got is you've got Clarion Live on YouTube, and of course people there you go, Clarion Live webinars. That's live now. Yeah, that's great. So on and so forth. Now, but you've also got actually, we go back to that one. No, I don't actually want to. No, I don't want to start that one. I wonder if there was a group.
It's live right now, right?
It is, yeah, but we don't want to do that. I was just wondering if there was they were grouped.
Go into infinity or something.
Right. So obviously they are live and they're auto recorded to the YouTube, which is pretty cool to be fair. Historically, what we used to do is record them. So you've got these. It should be a group.
Okay, so the group is actually Clarion Live videos.
Well, you've got these here, Noyantis software. This is a group. Now we were pushing up, and they have a playlist per month. So you can see here you've got November 2019. I think since we've switched since Clarion Live switched to YouTube and the YouTube recording, we've not really been pushing these up to date. But of course, all the recordings are there. We still, as we are now, we're recording this, and they all get recorded. What I'll do for you is I will set them converting, and I'll get this up to date. I'll get this up to date for you this week so that all of them get up so you'll be able to go to YouTube, look for Noyantis software, go to the playlist, and you'll have one for December 19, January 20, February 20, and so on and so forth. So at least if we say, oh, it was in the last few weeks, you'll be able to go to here, go to the particular month. No, we don't want to watch all that. Sorry about that. Be able to view the playlist. That's a better example. That's a better one. So you can see in October there was and we did put some descriptions on. I did one before we all went into lockdown to get Ben to look at previous recordings and just put some notes on them so at least people can see, oh, that's where we covered Registry Calm and that's where we covered report control. That's still the plan, but we're going to have to wait until we're out of lockdown and we're back at the office for that.
Well,
but at least
what was
get
that one?
converted.
What was that screen you were on just a second ago before you switched to the?
So yeah, do a search for Noyantis software on YouTube, of course, obviously, and you'll see a group, Noyantis software. Subscribe to it. You don't have to, but nice if you do. But that basically will take you to the Noyantis group within YouTube, and then if you navigate to the playlists, you'll get one playlist per month. So, for example, August 19, if we view that, you see there was 2 user groups that month. If we look at
that's fine. That's all I was looking for. I guess I did it wrong. I Googled it or something.
To be fair, this is out of date because since it switched to YouTube being the main recording device for the Clarion Live webinars, which of course Noyantis is one of, then we kind of didn't bother getting this up to date, but maybe we should. So that's fine. We've got them all recorded anyway. We'll just run the conversion. You need to convert them into a different format, MP4 format.
Can't you just share them off of the Clarion Live YouTube?
I think if you go to
share them over.
Can we do that,
Andy? So you don't. I think so. So you don't. Yeah. So you don't have to.
So if I look for Clarion Live,
but now see when you click on that episodes, it's all screwed up.
No, it didn't. Just stop.
Scroll down a little bit.
Youth group meeting is now. There's one watching
September 2020.
The dates are definitely wrong. I don't know what's going on with those. Those are all old recordings. Yeah,
these are some sort of ESP because you had future dates or something.
You should look at all the future ones to see if you ever finish your project.
Yeah.
So there is one there.
The dates are definitely wrong. These are from a long time ago. We stopped updating this a long time ago.
Well, do you know for how long?
80 years old and still working on a project.
I can. Did they go into documents? And I forget. Did they go into the downloads? Yeah, documents.
Definitely right. The dates are for sure wrong.
Ring Central. I'm sure. Oh, there you go. Oh, there's a load of meetings there. What needs to be done, so we can see Noyantis User Group. December, January, February, March. So at the end of this, at the end of today, I'll leave all those converting overnight, and then I'll start getting them uploaded. So, Bill, keep an eye on the Noyantis one. You'll see the.
You don't have to convert them. You don't have to convert them. Just make your own playlist. Use the other ones. Use my recordings.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I've seen people sharing other people's videos all over the place on YouTube.
Okay.
I think you can just make a playlist and just
worst case scenario,
paste it in.
Yeah, worst case scenario. But basically, the idea is, yes, you'll be able to go to Noyantis.
That's way too much work. I can help you, Andy, just to download them directly from GoToWebinar without having to do any conversion at all, just to download. But I'm pretty sure you can just share.
Well, if we can
share,
we'll do that. But basically, yeah, you'll be able to go to this, go to playlists, and it will be one playlist per month. So so we can see. I can't.
You'll have 2 places to go to. Right? I mean, it's the exact same recording. I don't think there's any reason to do all this.
Yeah, no. If we can add that link to that playlist, then of course, as you say, it's much easier. But ultimately, we still want it so we can just go to this, make it nice and easy for people.
Yes.
So yes, you never know. I might, if I ever get the chance, although we've got a quieter spell coming up, I might create a little Noyantis app, because we've got video wrappers and so on and so forth, and they can load from YouTube a little system tray app which has all the recordings in there. In fact, I'll tell you what I'll do. If I do that, I'll make it generic so it can actually do the Clarion Live, and then that way it can talk to our server, get the indexes of who's, which recordings which, and then you can have, instead of having to go to YouTube, you could have the app just running in the system tray and just choose them from a database. How's that sound? That'll cover Clarion Live, Net Talks, obviously Noyantis, and the others you do.
Oh, that is weird. The controls window's working properly now. What the hell?
It is working properly now. Yeah, definitely something going on there. But I'm going to do that test. Right, I've shot over time because I need to connect with another client. So I'm going to wrap up if that's okay. Much. No, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Here, Andy, I'm sending you a YouTube video, and it's called "How to Add Someone Else's Video to Your Channel."
Cool.
There you go. So you can watch the
3-minute
video, and I'll save you tons of time.
Yeah, then brilliant. Thank you very much. Right. Okay, we're going to have to wrap up until next week.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks, everybody. Cheers. Bye. Oh, I'm trying to see. There you go. End webinar.